Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. I would like to call to order this Centerville Board of Education meeting for Monday, June 28th, 2021. Call the roll, please, Laura.
Mr. Dahl?
Here.
Mrs. Durzoff?
Here.
Dr. Rohr?
Here.
Megan Sparks?
Here.
Mr. Schreier?
Here. Item 3, the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 4, could I have a motion to amend the agenda as Dr. Henderson talked about a few minutes ago, please?
So moved.
Okay.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Dahl?
Yes.
Mrs. Durzoff?
Yes.
Dr. Rohr?
Yes.
Megan Sparks?
Yes.
Mr. Schreier?
Yes. We're going to go right to item number 6, which is the hearing of the public. As we all know, the board provides this as a convenient opportunity for public comment before any official action is taken. If you would like to address the board, please come to the podium, state your name and address, and as mentioned, please limit your comments to 3 minutes, as we do have a 30-minute time item for hearing of the public. We will generally not engage in discussion or dialogue. Matters requiring follow-up will be directed to Dr. Henderson. Individual board members can always be contacted for a set meeting appointment, and written correspondence can be mailed to the board office. Who would like to speak to the board? Please come forward. Raise your hand.
President Schreier, would you like me to keep time?
Yes, please. Thank you. Please come forward. Thank you.
My name is Stephanie Bricker, 1690 Pembroke Trail. Good evening. First, I want to start off by thanking all the teachers, school administrators, ancillary staff, bus drivers, cleaning staff, cafeteria staff, all of them for doing a wonderful job during this interesting year of COVID. And again, I want to tell them all thank you. I stand before you to make a recommendation. I highly recommend that you make this face mask policy parental choice. Allow parents to decide what is in the best interest of our own children when it comes to wearing a face mask at school. We are the ones who are raising these children, and we know what is in their best interest. The school district was very lucky last year. These students went into the school year already having a summer of wearing face masks to go to childcare, restaurants, stores, anywhere they wanted to go, they wore a face mask. They got used to it. This year, school staff will face an uphill battle forcing these students to wear a mask because, as the majority of students haven't worn a mask since the last day of school. These students are going to childcare, camps, sports, restaurants, stores, pools, seeing friends and family, all without a mask. Do you really think it's going to be that easy to have them back in masks again? Let me give you some numbers. As of today, as I just checked just before now, you may not have looked into this, but 324 is the number of 0 to 17-year-olds who have died due to COVID. That is since the pandemic started, and that is nationwide. 324 students died, children. That is 0.00006% of kids in the United States. Let me give you another number, 4,000. Last year, 4,000 children lost their lives in motor vehicle accidents, and I don't see you banning me from placing my child in my car on school days. There are risks that we, as parents, take every day, and we try to minimize those risks, but at no time will risk ever be zero. However, we choose to raise our children to the best of our ability. I know I may not be able to convince you to allow parents to have the decision on whether the children should wear their masks or not. So let me try to convince you another way. If you force these children to wear masks next year, which is your right as the school board, we as parents can do something else. We can fight other ways. We can fight with our civic duty. We can fight by vote. We can fight to, at least I know, I will fight to turn down any school levy for the next 5 to 10 years if you choose to make my child wear a mask next year. I believe all of you here are elected officials. Thank you. I beg of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to address the Board of Education here?
I would.
Okay, please come forward.
I apologize, I have no prepared remarks, but I wanted to take this opportunity to say something. So I apologize if it doesn't make a ton of sense, but my name is Bonnie Smith. My address is 10334 Apple Park Court, and I have a single child in the Centerville schools. I've been volunteering my time for 9 years now in the schools. I recognize quite a few of you, some of whom I don't, but I really just want to come and say that the last year and a half has been ridiculously crazy by any standard. And I've been around for a while. And I want to thank the school board for making the tough decisions and for doing the things that may not take into account what I personally would like, but that would, in the weight, in the balance of everything overall, kept the largest number of students and the greatest number of people safe, and gave everybody an option to do something if they didn't agree with what was put in front of them. It wouldn't have been my choice to be masked. It wouldn't have been my choice to have remote learning. But I understand that my number one priority when my kid leaves the house is to be safe. School is compulsory, okay? I can't elect to keep my child home. And so if I have to send my child to school, I expect the school board to do everything within their power to keep my child safe. I don't know what the right answer is, masks, no masks, remote, no remote. I don't know what that answer is, but I do know that in the last year and a half, I have felt pretty comfortable with the options that have been given to me, and my kid is not one of the 324 that are dead. So, thank you.
Anyone else like to address the board, please come forward.
My name is Schultz. I live at 9830 Rose Arbor Drive in Centerville. I'm here to give a message of encouragement to the parents and students of Centerville schools and to the teachers and staff who've endured the policies of this district for the last year and a half. Now is the time for us to all speak out, stand united and band together to tell this board that we are done. The longer we wait, the more time they have to continue dictating policies that divide our schools and community. These dangerous policies show that they believe that they are better equipped to decide what is best for our children's social, emotional, and physical health than we are as their parents. We shouldn't be wasting time worried about an illness that has a statistical 0% risk for children and that 99.97% of adults will survive. What we should be concerned with are the issues at hand, like continued mandated masking of our 7th grade and under students and staff, along with their refusal to reverse this policy. The district hosting vaccine clinics for experimental mRNA shot that changes DNA and is causing more side effects and deaths than any other vaccine in human history. The reckless spending of our tax dollars and agendas like critical racism theory that create more divide in our society. It is our job to raise future generations of American patriots as students and teachers, as parents and teachers, not to indoctrinate them with socialist, Marxist, and communist theology. Students, if you are listening, you need to be challenging ideas and statements that belittle you, tells you that you are a victim, makes you feel less human or worthy, or puts your mind or body in jeopardy. You are champions, fully in charge of your destiny, and your families will back you as well as other people like me in your community. If you're afraid to use your voice, then we will be your voice until you're ready. To every parent who has messaged me to say you're sick of what the board is doing, I thank you and I'm with you. To those who've been afraid to speak out, I encourage you to tell these folks what you think, otherwise nothing will change. The school board works for us. We don't work for them, and their decisions are not honoring parental rights, giving them authority over what our kids are being subjected to. The many conversations I've been privileged to have with all of you has inspired me. To every staff member that has sought me out, messaged me, called me, and had personal conversations with me, I'm set. I'm with you, but you're afraid to speak out for fear of disciplinary action, losing your job, or divulging very personal information that is no one's business but your own to share. I hear you, I see you, and I speak for you right now. We will not stop until your rights are honored as well. Finally, for the members who continue to dishonor and discriminate against our kids and staff, I want to thank you for exposing yourselves and showing us your agendas, because you're blaming and use of unscientific, non-research-based information to back your policies imposed on thousands of students, staff, and coaches, lack of transparency and deliberate avoidance, and using your position as a pulpit to preach from has been eye-opening. You've awakened an army of parents who will never be asleep at the wheel again, because our children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren's futures ride on it.
My name is Bielelt, and I live at 10957 Old Spring Drive. Thank you to the school board, to our teachers, our administrators, the cleaning staff, the janitorial staff, the food working staff, for getting us through this year. We appreciate you more than you know. The attacks on the school board for something that is out of their control. This was a mandate put into place by Governor DeWine in August of 2020. So the anger and the frustration that you feel, the school board was simply following the mandate put in place by Governor DeWine. The ban was not lifted until June the 2nd, 2 days before school was let out. The board was doing their job. Find me a public school in the state of Ohio that didn't follow the mask mandate. I'm pretty darn sure that most public schools in the state of Ohio were masked when they went to school. Critical race theory is not being taught in any K through 12 classrooms in this district. I serve on the Curriculum Advisory Committee. It's never been something on the table. So I would just like to put some rumors to rest. If you have anger about a mask mandate or things that are going to be done, take it to the state level, not the local school board. They were simply doing what they were told to do. Find any other school district around here that didn't wear a mask. Heck, some of the private schools continue to mask. So, I would just like to say thank you to the school system for keeping our kids safe, and I appreciate you.
My name is Emily Smith, on 142 Midtown Drive. Just quickly, thank you to the Board of Education for your continued commitment to our kids and for keeping everybody safe for the last 18 months. It's been a ride for us all, and we appreciate you. This is not easy. But I will like to say that the hateful, radical, bigoted viewpoints heard today and in previous meetings do not speak for this very diverse community. It is very much minority. please, just please continue what you do to keep our community and our kids safe, all of our kids safe. They all deserve it. Thank you.
All subject 5777 Hickory Drive, Washington Township. Over a year ago, I met with a member of the school board to discuss school board spending priorities and practices. The board member was very responsive to my inquiries and responded to all of my follow-up questions. Near the end of the meeting, I wanted to know how and when the school board decides to place a levy on the ballot. I've never forgotten the response. The board member said, the board just keeps spending money. When more money is spent than revenue, we get to the cash reserve. When the cash reserve is nearly depleted, we go to the taxpayers to get more money spent. At the end of that meeting, I thought that the board member was being humorous because of all the time that we spent together. At the last month's regular meeting, the treasurer presented the fiscal 2021 financial master plan summary, a 5-year financial projection for the years 2021 through 2025, a projected 4 years of increasing deficit spending. The projected deficits continue after the presumptive renewal of an expiring $9.5 million levy. In 2019, the school board spent $7.2 million more than revenue. In 2019, a $6.9 million levy was placed on the ballot and was passed. In 2020, with the new revenue stream, the board spent $6.2 million more in revenue. In 2021, there was a projected one-time surplus of $3.5 million, generated by the truncated school activities and the infusion of federal money. So in May of 2021, looking at 2 fiscal deficit years and a one-time surplus and an expiring emergency levy, what is the school board to do? Well, the answer is obvious: spend more money. So they voted a 1.9% salary increase across the board for each of the 3 coming years starting in July 2021. With the new revenue stream from the 2019 levy and the presumed reauthorization of the expiring levy, you still are projecting a $3.2 million deficit in 2022, a $6.5 million deficit in 2023, an $8.9 million deficit in 2024, an $11.9 million deficit in 2025, a combined deficit of $31.5 million in the span of 4 years. In addition to that, in 2025, the cash reserve is completely depleted, and there's a significant amount of money that is spent with no revenue resource. Apparently the board member who spoke to me was about spending and just go to the public and get more money was actually talking about board policy, and I didn't believe that. But the approval of the 5-year financial forecast appears to validate that statement as current board policy. Just keep spending.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone else like to address the board? Okay. Seeing no one else, we're going to go to item number 7 on the agenda, which are the board and administrative reports. 7A, the legislative reports. Mrs. Sparks, please.
1 second, sorry.
Take your time.
The Senate passed Senate Bill 176 by a vote of 30 to 2. The bill would legalize, regulate, and tax sports gaming, prohibit betting on any sports or athletic event if a player is under the age of 18, and require that 98% of profits be used for the K-12 education. The Senate Select Committee on Gaming amended the bill to increase the number of Type A and Type B license modify licensing restrictions for Type B license and include a new Type C license. Sorry, that was backwards. I found out before I left my house tonight, this bill is sponsored by Senator Antoni. He went to the Lieutenant Governor, I believe, to get this passed. They're waiting on Governor DeWine to sign it. I believe he said the day was June 30th. I can update the board on this. Like I said, it happened right before I left the house tonight. The Senate Primary and Secondary Education Committee passed House Bill 244, which would require K-12 schools to allow military children who are relocating but not yet residents of the district to enroll electronically and participate in technology-based educational opportunities. The House Primary and Secondary Education Committee held a second hearing on Senate Bill 1, which would require students who enter the 9th grade for the first time on or after July 1st, 2021 to complete at least 1/2 unit of instruction in the study of financial literacy. I am still watching House Bill 110, that's the financial one, as it works its way through the Senate. And that's all that I have for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 7B are the student board reps. I will call on Mrs. Sparks again, please.
I'm excited to introduce our brand new Board of Education student members, and the previous student reps will introduce them. So please go ahead and make your way to the mic.
As some of you may know, June, Katie, and I are all seniors this year, so we will be done after the July meeting. However, we have 3 new great representatives, and I'd like them to introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Gabriel Craneville. I just finished my junior year. I'll be starting my senior year, and I'm looking very forward to working with everybody here.
Good evening, my name is Jacob Bieber. I am going to be a junior at the high school next year, and I'm very excited to be involved in this next years.
Hi, my name is Amina Wase, and I'm a rising senior here at Centerville, and I'm also very excited to work.
Other than that, we don't really have any more updates. We're just working on the transition between the new and old members. Thank you.
Miss Agawa was unable to make it tonight. She's our 4th member, and we're meeting in the next few weeks to pass the torch, so to say. So good job to our previous board reps, we'll miss you, and welcome to our new ones.
Item 7C on the agenda is the treasurer's report. Ms. Sauber.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. For the board, I wanted to just go over items 8C through F on the agenda and just provide a little bit of additional explanation for those items that you'll be voting on this evening or being asked to vote on this evening. 8C is the certificate of estimated resources to close out fiscal year 21. And just so you know, what we're talking about here, this is all funds. This is not just operating. This includes all of our grants, all of our permanent improvement funds, student activities. Every fund that we have is included in these year-end items. And so the certificate of estimated resources is exactly what it says. It's our estimated resources for the year. And so it's the balances we had on hand at the beginning of the year, plus whatever revenue that we were estimating to give us the total estimated resources for the year. This is a compliance item for the county auditor. They require it. It's also required by our state auditors as well. And then item D is the appropriations, the final appropriations for the year. You can think of it as a final budget for the year, so to speak. And again, this is a compliance item that we are required to approve for the county auditor and for the state auditors. The certificate of estimated resources has to exceed our appropriations, and as you see on the numbers on the agenda, it does. Item E is advances that we're approving from the general fund out to the funds that are noted on the agenda. Advances get repaid, and so I want to make sure that I clarify that from the get-go. that these are grants, that we had some spending at the very tail end of the year here that we were not able to get the cash from the state because the state closes off their window to request the funds. So we have to end the books with either a zero or a positive cash balance in those funds. So to do that, I'm asking the board to approve an advance from the general fund to those grants. We'll receive the money in July, and we will pay that money back to the general fund in July. And so it's just, again, it's a compliance item to make sure that all of our funds have positive balances. And then item F is our temporary appropriations to start the new year, fiscal year 22. This is in line with the numbers that we've seen in prior years. I did want to point out and mention too, we've been talking about the food service fund throughout, ever since January, we've really been talking about that. Almost every month it felt like, and we had approved in advance back in January, and I had said that we would have an additional, sorry, not advance, transfer, that we would have an additional transfer to close out the fiscal year. We decided to use some of our federal ESSER money to help our food service fund out, and that we got clarification from the state that we're allowed to do that. And so instead of seeing a transfer, that's why you see such a large advance there for the ESSER, is because at the last minute we decided we're going to help our food service fund out with those grant funds. So if you have questions, I'm happy to take them, but again, these are compliance items, and these are items that we do every June.
Laura, can you explain to me again 8C, the difference between 8C and 8D, the dollar difference there, please?
Yes, 8C is revenues, 8D are the expenses for all the funds. So the revenue, the certificate of estimated resources, it has to exceed what our budget is going to be, the appropriations. And so the certificate of estimated resources is the balance that we had on hand at the beginning of the fiscal year, which was last July 1st, plus all the resources that we estimated we would receive. Those numbers have to exceed what our appropriations are.
Thank you. Any other comments on the treasurer's report?
Thank you.
Thank you. 7D is the TIF discussion. Dr. Henderson, please.
Sure, Mr. Schroeder. So a little bit of background is representatives from the city of Centerville attended our work session last Monday, a week ago. And basically the city of Centerville is working to develop a 7.5 acre parcel of land. The city currently owns this parcel of land. It's at the corner of Yankee and Social Row Road. And the idea is that they're proposing the development there that would be really, it's a mix of office and commercial uses. So it would not be for residential purposes at all. And so the city is currently in negotiations with somebody that would like to develop that land, again, with a mix of office and commercial use. And so according to the statute, in this case, the city of Centerville has to, it's basically the city is interested in entering into a tax incentive financial agreement with us as the school district, because the idea behind this would be that that property, when developed, the school district would not get a full collection of the real estate taxes there. We'd get a portion of that, and then the portion that we would not normally collect from the city in real estate taxes as part of our revenue stream would be put aside to make other improvements as needed, either in roads or in other areas throughout the city. So by law and by the statute, they have to come and meet with us to explain that, to have an opportunity for us to review that contract. And I know the board had a lot of questions last week with those representatives from the city. I think it was a good meeting. What we have done at this point is sent this document off to our legal counsel, and we will have a meeting with legal a little bit later on here in the future and communicate back with you and get answers to all of your questions. So it is a very complicated situation. It is very similar to the development that the city did out in the Bellbrook Sugar Creek area there, where all the new building was built out there. So again, that was a TIF arrangement that they put together out there as well. So we're working to get more answers and having legal review the document this time.
Thank you, Tom. We're going to go to the action items on the agenda. Item number 8A, we're going to consider approving the May 2021 financial statements, the monthly general fund rolling report, the monthly fund general breakdown, or the monthly general fund breakdown, the monthly cash reconciliation, the monthly fund activity report, then and now purchase orders approved by administration, certified by the treasurer, and supported by board resolution totaling $101,340.35. A revised January 2021 monthly cash reconciliation, a revised February 2021 monthly cash reconciliation, a revised March 2021 monthly cash reconciliation, and a revised April 2021 monthly cash reconciliation. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion on 8A? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Dahl?
Yes.
Mrs. Dernbach?
Yes.
Dr. Rohr?
Yes.
Megan Sparks?
Yes.
Mr. Schreier?
Yes. Item 8B, consider approving the minutes of the following Board of Education meetings: Monday, May 24th, 2021 regular meeting, and the June 2021 special meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Dahl?
Yes.
Mrs. Dernbach?
Yes.
Dr. Rohr?
Yes.
Megan Sparks?
Yes.
Mr. Schreier?
Yes. Item 8C, consider approving the fiscal year 2021 final certificate of estimated resources in the amount of $229,948,603.
Moved.
Second.
Any discussion or questions or comments on 8C? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Dahl?
Yes.
Mrs. Dernbach?
Yes.
Dr. Rohr?
Yes.
Megan Sparks?
Yes.
Mr. Schreier?
Yes. Item 8D, consider approving the fiscal year 2021 final appropriations in the amount of $193,112,566.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments on 8D? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Dahl?
Yes.
Mrs. Dernbach?
Yes.
Dr. Rohr?
Yes.
Megan Sparks?
Yes.
Mr. Schreier?
Yes. Item 8E, consider approving advances from the general fund to the following funds. All advances will be repaid to the general fund in fiscal year 2022, as Ms. Sauber just discussed. The 507 ESSER funds for $455,000. 510, the coronavirus relief funds for $500. 516 IDEA B for $2,000, and fund number 590 Title II-A for $100.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments on 8E? Call the roll, please.
507, that includes.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. That includes the food service in that one?
It does.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Dahl?
Yes.
Mrs. Dernbach?
Yes.
Dr. Rohr?
Yes.
Megan Sparks?
Yes.
Mr. Schreier?
Yes. Item 8F, consider approving the fiscal year 2022 temporary appropriations in the amount of $142,983,457.
Moved.
Second. I do have a question, Ms. Sauber. Can you speak to the difference between the 2021 final appropriation and the 22 temporary appropriation? There's a significant dollar amount.
There is, and the reason for that is in fiscal year 2021, you remember back in September, we did the bond refinancing.
Yes.
So even though we refinanced the debt's still there, but we had to actually put that on the books as a transaction, so it has to be included. So that's why it's lower in 22, is because we won't have that happen.
Thank you.
Any other comments on 8F? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Dahl?
Yes.
Mrs. Dernbach?
Yes.
Dr. Rohr?
Yes.
Megan Sparks?
Yes.
Mr. Schreier?
Yes. Item number 9 are the superintendent's Recommendations. This 9A, the superintendent recommends accepting resignations as listed on Schedule A. The superintendent recommends the employment, change of employment status or change of contract status for the certificated personnel listed on Schedule B for the salaries, programs, and on the effective dates given. The superintendent recommends the employment or change of employment status for the support staff personnel listed on Schedule C for the salaries, programs, and on the effective dates given. The superintendent recommends the employment of the personnel listed on Schedules D and D1 for supplemental contracts or extra duty assignments. Have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments on this? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Dahl?
Yes.
Mrs. Sternbach?
Yes.
Dr. Rohr?
Yes.
Megan Sparks? Yes. Mr. Schreier?
Yes. The superintendent recommends the employment, change of employment status, or change of contract status for the certificated personnel listed on Schedule B1 for the salaries, programs, and on the effective dates given.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Dahl?
Abstain.
Mrs. Sternbach?
Yes.
Dr. Rohr?
Yes.
Megan Sparks? Yes. Mr. Schreier?
Yes. 9B, we're going to consider a resolution approving an alignment agreement with the Montgomery County Educational Service Center for fiscal year 2022 and fiscal year 2023. We discussed that at the work session last week. Tom, could maybe you give a little update on that, please?
Sure, Mr. Schroeder. So just like the other 15 public schools in Montgomery County, we work with the Montgomery County Educational Service, and basically their job and responsibility is to support all the public school districts in their county, in this case Montgomery County, and they provide services, help, and assistance and support in a variety of different ways. In some ways that occurs in special education, other ways it is provided in the area of professional development, and we have worked with them for a long time, ever since they've been in existence. Just due to some auditor changes, they're now recommending and asking that all of the public school districts in Montgomery County pass this resolution and even the next one on C, these two resolutions. It's just basically allowing us to continue to do business with the Educational Service Center like we have in the past, and it's just a change and a request from audit to make these changes. So, like you said, these were reviewed at the work session as well last week.
Thank you. Could I ask for a motion on that? No. Could I have a motion on 9B, please?
So moved. Second.
Any other discussion on 9B? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Dahl?
Yes.
Mrs. Sternbach?
Yes.
Dr. Rohr?
Yes.
Megan Sparks? Yes. Mr. Schreier?
Yes. Item 9C, consider a resolution approving an agreement for services with the Montgomery County Educational Service Center for fiscal year 2022 that Dr. Henderson just discussed.
So moved. Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Dahl?
Yes.
Mrs. Sternbach?
Yes.
Dr. Rohr?
Yes.
Megan Sparks? Yes. Mr. Schreier?
Yes. 9D, consider a resolution approving the Americana Festival Committee fireworks event celebrating the 4th of July, insurance and hold harmless agreements previously discussed.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments on 9D? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Dahl?
Yes.
Mrs. Sternbach?
Yes.
Dr. Rohr?
Yes.
Megan Sparks? Yes. Mr. Schreier?
Yes. Item 9E, consider a resolution approving the purchase of Chromebooks for kindergarten students using federal ESSER funds that Mr. Morgan discussed last week.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments on 9E?
I just have one question.
Yes.
Are these in addition to our current fleet, or are some being retired? I don't remember.
This is an additional.
This is an additional. Okay. And this is to make them the right specifications for that age group that we're going for.
That's correct.
As far as like K through 3, is it?
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Dahl?
Yes.
Mrs. Sternbach?
Yes.
Dr. Rohr?
Yes.
Megan Sparks?
Yes.
Mr. Schreier?
Yes, early on, we switched items 10 and 11, so we're going to go item 10. Are there any final comments from any members of the Board of Education? Seeing none, we're going to go to item number 11, which is pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 121.22G1. Could I have a motion that the board adjourn to executive session for the purpose of considering the employment of an employee of the school district? There will be no other further action other than adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Dahl?
Yes.
Mrs. Sternbach?
Yes.
Dr. Rohr?
Yes.
Megan Sparks?
Yes.
Mr. Schreier?
Yes. Thank you all for coming tonight, and have a good week.